In recent years we have seen how artificial intelligence was making its way to help us in most sectors of the technological world, and of course in the niche of trading was not going to be different. But beyond the creation of algorithmic, systematic, or quantitative indicators, artificial intelligence can also be combined with simpler variables, such as moving averages, and within all this with the so-called VWAP, which no doubt many of you will know and use, and that in today's video you will see combined with this artificial intelligence to achieve amazing results. Welcome to the Trader's Game. And before we start, remember that in the description you have the links to join us in our Telegram community, where every day we post charts and analysis of what is happening in the financial markets. And also the trading bonus page, which has been updated and have added new promotions and free bonuses, for all those who are starting in the world of trading. Do not forget to leave your email if you want to receive a weekly newsletter with everything that has happened during those days. First of all, let's explain for those of you who are newer to the world of trading what is this VWAP, also called volume weighted average price. Basically, it is a technical analysis indicator that is normally used on intraday charts, as it works much better for attacking short and medium-term trades, and is reset at the beginning of each trading session. It is a widely used trading benchmark. It represents the average price at which a given security has traded throughout the day based on volume and price. The VWAP is very important because it provides traders with price information on both the trend and the value of an asset. And the keys to the VWAP, most importantly, would be that it appears as a single line on intraday charts. It is similar to a moving average line but smoother. It looks exactly the same. It represents a view of the price action throughout a single day's trading session. As I was telling you earlier, it is usually more useful for short-term traders, and traders can use it to help them determine intraday price trends. And finally, just so you know how it is calculated, you would add up the dollars traded for each trade, multiply the price by the volume, and then divide by the total shares traded. This might seem quite complicated, but as you can see it looks that simple on the chart. This would be the normal VWAP, the one of all life, where we can see the kind of central line that acts as an average, and that always interacts with the price to determine the most likely trend that the price will suffer that day. In fact, you can clearly see that when we change day and the price is traded below the VWAP, it always tends to return to that middle zone marked by this blue line, which we will make a little thicker to make it easier for us to see it. And as the price is trading below, it means that we have a higher probability of a downtrend, and we should use it as a zone of existence, since every time it reaches it goes back down again. Then we would also have the possibility of adding more multiplication bands, but well, this has nothing to do with this video, but also so that you know a little all the possibilities and strategies that can be used even with a basic VWAP at all. But today we are going to use the so-called VWAP with machine learning, i.e. a VWAP that has incorporated artificial intelligence technology. We are going to go to 15 minutes, in the pair for example of Bitcoin with USDT, but repeat that the VWAP is a tool that we can combine in any type of asset, whether cryptocurrencies, forex, traditional stocks, indices, whatever we want, but keep in mind that it will always work better in low or medium temporalities, since it restarts each intraday session. We can already see different signals that mark this VWAP with machine learning, and after knowing a little more how a VWAP works, we can see very clear areas, which also the artificial intelligence marks us as possible entries, i.e. the price is sideways in an area where the VWAP is very compressed, and even helps us to detect the formation of a range and its subsequent breakout in this candle here. We continue that downtrend, and there comes a time where we have a large absorption zone that allows the price to return to change its upward trend. The artificial intelligence at the time it sees that the price is already re-entering these areas of multiplication of the VWAP band throws us a first buy signal with this little green arrow. Obviously it is an area that if we analyze also with our basic knowledge of trading, using price action or similar theories, we could find it as good and we could make an entry. Still, for those of you who are more novice with these concepts, I simply recommend that you wait for the price to get back in contact with the VWAP zone marked in orange, which in fact we can mark it a little bit thicker in this style zone. And after that happens, we start to interpret what happens in the zone. Well, the price continues to rise, we have a bearish mark by the artificial intelligence, and of course we know that the price is going to tend to return to the VWAP zone. Then we also notice that the outer bands of the VWAP, which act visually in a very similar way to the Bollinger Bands, we see that despite this correction they continue to expand, and that tells us that the pullback may have a high probability of being simply for the continuation of the trend. We wait for that first signal of the green arrow of artificial intelligence, and we would place our operation with the stop loss below the previous structural lows, and the take profit to your liking. I personally recommend taking the first profit at a ratio of 1.5 to 1, to always ensure those profits, and then leave another part of the operation to a ratio of 2 to 1. This will also depend on your ability to analyze, for example, the structural breaks and interpret them in the right way. It will also help us to see that the outer bands of the VWAP are expanding more and do not come together towards the center. Although it may seem quite simple to see it, you need to have all your attention on any detail that may occur in the range you are trading. Even so, in a few seconds we will add another indicator that can help us to filter these entries without the need to have any other knowledge. But if we continue looking at the price action, we can see how artificial intelligence, at the time it detects that this trend is getting tired and that we have a red candle that crosses the upper band getting back to the center, we again mark a signal, in this case in short. I recommend that if you are starting in the world of trading, simply take advantage of the operations that give you very clearly in the parts of the pullbacks, uptrend, pullback. We take advantage of this entry that marks us bouncing right in the VWAP. We expect another pullback again. We mark another perfect entry bouncing again in the VWAP. And we would take another long, since taking these operations against trend could become more difficult to see. But well, if you have more practice and you see that the upper or lower bands are far away from the VWAP, you could take the trade without problem, since we know that the price will always tend to return to the average. Well, as I said, we are going to add another indicator to make this strategy much easier. It is called L1 Volatility Quality Index. It is from Black Cat, and when you click on it you will see something like this. It is an indicator that helps us to detect when we have more or less volatility in the market. It can also have many applications in other types of strategies that we could see in the future. That is not only candles with color, but all this has a lot of internal data. But we are going to use it in the simplest possible way. We come to the configuration part, and in the length of the period we change 14 by 26. Yes, normally traders use it in 14. It is more comfortable. But I personally have become accustomed to have it in 26, and for this type of strategies it works much better. It is also something that I encourage you to test yourselves to get to know how much you can put this variable according to your tastes, whether in 14 or 26. We are going to use this indicator too, according to the entries that the artificial intelligence marks us, detect if they have a pretty big probability of being correct or not. In this part here we can see how after the price broke the range and started that downtrend that would last for a few hours, we have this absorption zone. The price re-enters within those bands of the upper indicator, and we have that first signal. We look at our lower indicator, which is first above this gray average that you see here, and secondly that this mountain is blue. This usually happens when after a great downward pressure we can have a pullback or change in trend. Therefore we have double data, the color of the bars of the indicator and that are above the average volatility. That means that this could be a good entry. At the same time, the next one that has already been positioned above the VWAP also has a lot of volatility, so it could also be a good entry. And if we had marked it we could see that this is indeed the case. We continue advancing and the lower indicator already tells us that the volatility is below the average, so we do not look for any type of operation. And just at this point here, just in this area, we see that it does not coincide with that there is an increase in volatility. That is why I was telling you before that this type of movements we would need to capture them or take them also according to our knowledge of the theories of price action, and even Elliott waves. But well, if we take it as perfect, and if we do not take it nothing happens either, because the indicator does allow us to take this type of entries. In the case that, as I said, the price was far away from the VWAP and crossed the outer bands downwards, in this case we mark again that entry in short. We look at the lower indicator, and we see that the volatility is very high and also the color is red. I think you are already seeing that this red color means that we have volatility, but in this case with a downward trend change. And when we had the blue color it meant the same but with a change of trend upwards. As you can see, it is very simple. Then we would perfectly take that trade up to the VWAP area, as we saw a few minutes ago. In the next mark of artificial intelligence again we look for that coloration in the lower indicator, which indicates that volatility is above average, and again we place stop loss below the previous structural minimums. First take profit in ratio 1.5 to 1, and second take we can take it up to that ratio of 2 to 1. As you see, the price would continue to rise, and if we capture all the full trend we would get to have more than 3.4% profit only in spot, without any leverage. So guys, as you can see, artificial intelligence helps us to improve even our simplest indicators and strategies. We encourage you to try all our strategies and to put below in comments what results you have obtained with them, and in what assets and timeframes you are trading them. If you like our work, leave us a nice like, which is free and helps us a lot, and see you in the next video of the Trader's Game.